Representatives from Ethiopia's government and rival Tigrayan forces have begun formal peace talks in South Africa. It's the first time that the two sides have come together since war broke out nearly 2 years ago. The meeting comes as government forces make gains on the battlefield, capturing several towns in recent weeks after a 5-month ceasefire broke down.
Rallying to condemn the Tigray People's Liberation Front and to back the government in Ethiopia's capital. Here in Addis Ababa, support for the latest offensive by the Ethiopian army is high. In recent weeks, government troops have taken several large towns in the embattled Tigray region. It's just the latest escalation in the war that broke out nearly 2 years ago, pitting TPLF fighters against Ethiopian government forces backed by troops from neighbouring Eritrea. With Tigray blockaded since the start of the fighting and most communication cut off, tens of thousands are thought to have died, with millions more in desperate need of humanitarian aid. The UN is increasingly concerned.
The situation in Ethiopia is spiraling out of control. Violence and destruction have reached alarming levels. The social fabric is being ripped apart. Hostilities in the Tigray region of Ethiopia must end now.
But while the peace talks provide a glimmer of hope for the future, for now, fighting seems set to go on, with the government ignoring calls for an immediate ceasefire.
And with more now, I'm joined by Ethiopian journalist Samuel Getachew. Samuel, it's good to have you with us. We know there's been fighting now for 2 years. Talk to me about why it has been so difficult to even get these two sides to come together to talk.
To begin with, there seems to be mistrust among the TPLF, the Tigray People's Liberation Front, which led the Ethiopian government in a coalition for some time, 2 decades before this prime minister came to power, and the Ethiopian government in Addis Ababa. There has been accusations and counter-accusations that have been going on between both sides. The Ethiopian government keeps insisting that they're playing with a terrorist organization that the parliament of Ethiopia has declared last year, and the TPLF has been saying they're trying to save their own people, the Tigrayan people. They even accuse the Ethiopian government of creating some kind of genocide. So between both sides, there has been mistrust. They don't seem to trust each other. The Ethiopian government insists the TPLF has to be disarmed before any kind of negotiation moves forward, while the TPLF is saying that the Ethiopian government is creating genocide. They even ask the Eritrean troops to leave the region of Tigray before any kind of negotiation. There has been a disagreement in terms of who should be in charge of the conversation that's taking place in South Africa. The TPLF saying it should be led by the former president of Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta, while the Ethiopian government is insisting it should be led by the former president of Nigeria, Obasanjo. So there is a widespread disagreement when it comes to this conversation.
Samuel, the fighting, we know it's intensified in recent weeks. Is there a sense that is related to these negotiations?
Well, it might as well be. There seems to be this kind of interest to cause us more damage as possible. The TPLF, while they were coming to Addis Ababa, pushing towards Addis Ababa last year, they were saying they're not in a position to negotiate with the Ethiopian government. They wanted to move forward, come to Addis Ababa and settle some of their differences. The Ethiopian government is pushing towards Mekelle. They have taken over towns, important towns within the region of Tigray, including Adwa, which is the home town of the former prime minister of Ethiopia, Meles Zenawi, the late prime minister, the head of TPLF. So the Ethiopian government seems to have more strength when it comes to this conversation that's taking place. But once again, there doesn't seem to be any interest between both sides to compromise And that's where we are at the moment.
Journalist Samuel Getachew with the latest tonight on these possible talks. Samuel, thank you very much.
Thank you.